Hello, hello. We are back with the fourth episode of the GCiers podcast. And for you to believe, maybe this is not the fourth, it's the fourth dot one because we have just started to record the podcast and then suddenly something happens. This is technology and we didn't record in the faces. We only recorded the face. It was my fault, so we are trying again. So we have on this episode three of our lovely GCI colleagues from different places in the world. And we start with Emily in... Where are you located, Emily?
Hi, I'm Emily and I'm from Vancouver, Canada. So it's a city near the west of Canada and it's really nice out today actually.
Perfect. And you know that this podcast sadly is a meeting in a period of time with a very bad worldwide situation. We have COVID. How is COVID doing in your city and country?
In the city, cases have gone up. Last month there were maybe 100 a day, but now there are 250 a day. So it's rapidly spiking and also across Canada it's rapidly spiking. So hopefully it will get better soon, but it is getting rather worse.
And are you staying at home? Are you doing your classes online? Explain us a little bit personally.
Yeah, so I'm staying home most of the day. So classes, we have one a week in person, but for the rest of the time, we just spend our classes online. So it's more of like a hybrid model.
Good. So let's move forward to the other side of the world, almost, and let's go to India. Merul, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing great.
Are you recording this podcast just in case it didn't press the record button with your OBS?
No, I just
I'm joking, just for you to have a smile. We don't have to be as serious. So, Merul, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty great. Thank you so much for asking.
And how is the situation here for you personally and the country?
Well, it's pretty bad. Uh, the numbers are getting lower because we're testing lower. And it's natural that the numbers would just go down. And where there are more tests, the cases are higher. So, but even with lower tests, we're getting 50,000 cases a day, which is insane to think about. That's a very high count.
I think your government is looking for the herd immunity, waiting for people get immune against. The problem is that in the middle, plenty of people will be having bad situations. And are you doing your classes online, or what is the status about the school?
So since February, we've all been in all the schools have been shut down and also universities. So all the classes are happening online, but recently they started to open back up. So here we have two types of education. One is which is theoretical, and one is which is practical, where you perform the experiments. So for practical education, they're calling students to classes, but it's happening in batches of 10 or so students which have to go to school.
Curious. Very nice. Well, very sad, but this is the situation. So let's go a little
Yeah.
bit more. Let's move a little bit to Sri Lanka. Janiru, hello. How are you?
Yeah, hello. So I'm in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Colombo is the capital. So the most cases in the country are coming from Colombo. Sadly, there are about 400 cases per day. Actually, the schools was started in August, and we went school about a month, and again Corona raised for the second time, and now we are at home. So I have about two classes per day online. It's all about 2 hours, so I just spend the other time playing some games and doing some other projects.
Oh, Emily's loving because you're playing games at home. You're not only studying. You have to say, we are hardly studying. We are all day long studying. No, you're playing.
Yeah.
A little bit. So let me make a fast round about what kind of technology do you use in your online classes. For example, you're the last engineer. What tools do you use with for the online school?
Actually, we use a thing called WebEx. Actually, I don't like it.
You use Cisco WebEx for the video
Yeah,
conferences? Oh, very curious.
I can't understand why can't they use my Google Meet. Actually, it's very simple, and WebEx is like a whole mess.
And are you using some kind of other tool for the education? I mean, for the classes, for the contents?
No, we don't need any camera. We can't talk indoors. Just listening to the teacher.
Just you listen to the teacher and you take notes, and this is it. You don't have any kind of online platform with contents.
No.
Very curious. And you, Emily, in Canada, what tools are you using?
So all classes are run on Zoom so that the teacher can see you and you can ask questions verbally. And then we collect a lot of the assignments and stuff like that through Microsoft Teams. So we kind of just balance between both platforms.
So you have Zoom and also Microsoft Teams. Curious. And you, Merul, what is the technology
So
you use?
we use Google Classroom, and it depends on the teacher that what platform they use for the meeting. So some teachers use Google Meets, some teachers use Zoom, and I convinced my computer science teacher to switch to Discord. So that's an achievement.
It's very curious. As I was pretty sure that you all use different technologies. What it was strange for me, Janiru, is that your teachers are not using any kind of online platform for the contents of the education. But every country is different, and that's the way. That's the way. Okay, let's go to the real podcast and let me double check. We are recording. Yes, it seems that we are recording. You can smile now. Respire. Okay, so first today is Merul that wants to talk about Microsoft new project Powertoys. Oh, this is going to be very interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's very interesting because Microsoft and open source, two words which don't go well pretty well, because Microsoft has been known for their past for going full ham on open source and going completely against open source at all, to the point where the CEO of Microsoft, the ex-CEO, I should say, Steve Ballmer, called Linux a cancer that attaches itself in an intellectual property sense to everything it touches. So, that's pretty bad because, but now in May 2020, they said, no, we were wrong about that statement. Well, they're backpedaling now because they see the wind is turning towards open source. And that is, I think, why they are shifting to this open source narrative now, because all of their Azure servers, the thing that makes the most money for Microsoft, they use Linux. They don't run on Windows. Well, you can't run a proper server on Windows anyway. So now with Powertoys, they've added a lot of things which power users on Windows would appreciate, like a tiling manager. They call it Fancy Zone style editor. So you can create, like on Linux, you have all of those tiling managers like i3, you have DWM, where you can just create pre-made layouts and you can just snap windows there. It's very efficient. Well, we don't have something like that on Windows yet, which is surprising because it's such a big operating system. But now that they've decided to add this basic utility, it's nice. So they have something called Fancy Zone Styling Manager, which is a part of that. They have a new color picker. Again, something which is very basic, but they never had in an operating system so big. They've also added SVG and Markdown previews. So now when you're using the File Explorer and you click on an SVG or a Markdown file, you can see its preview. Again, it's bad that they never had it in the first place. And they have also added an image resizer, an easy tool for you to mass resize images. They also have something like Spotlight Search now. It's called Powertoys Run. So you can search across files, directories for software, and on the web. And they have something called the Macro Manager, where it's not called a Macro Manager exactly, but it is like a keyboard macros manager where you can set macros for and custom shortcuts for it. And the last thing that they added is a shortcut guide. So now when you hold down the Windows button, it shows you all the hotkeys which you can use. So for example, if we actually just hold it down now and see, so it says Windows plus A is Action Center, and it just displays all of these useful things which you can do with the new Powertoys application. So it is a step in the right direction, I guess. Well, now they're seeing that open source is becoming bigger than proprietary software.
For you to know that I've been showing the Powertoys website and the GitHub patch on the podcast, and To be true, I have used Powertoys since its inception 15 years ago, and never has been open source till now. And there were a few of the applications that they use in a daily basis. I like those. To be true, I didn't use it. I'm not using it now. But for example, the image resizer, I use it a lot. Maybe I will try to install it again. And for the other stuff, I'm not sure I need it. But I use usually Windows 10 most of my time. But I run also Linux, Mac OS, and Chrome OS all day long. Android, of course. And I'm not so. I don't want to use too much. I would say compiled code on my machine. Usually, I don't download anything not being open source and not being from I would say trusted company. Microsoft is not a trusted company in open source.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I hope they are not listening us. But if they are listening us, nothing happens because they already know my opinion for years. What do you think about this, Emily?
I was gonna ask, if you've used it, how do you find, for example, the tagging manager between the fancy zones and something like i3, for example?
Sorry, I did not get you.
Did you find that, like, for example, the fancy zones tagging window manager is, like, feature-wise, is it similar to something like i3?
No.
and
It's ways inferior than that. It just allows you to pick zones, and you cannot even have more than one zone edited. So you just have the option to create one layout, and that's all. Well, in i3 you can create as many as you want, and it's pretty basic. They needed to have that in the first place, but it's good that they're at least trying to do something.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's good that they're at least like trying to integrate something a little bit more complex, I guess.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I find it too simple. I mean, not too much. You can do too much with it. If it goes for you because it just whatever you need, fantastic. But usually people has more other kind of needs. I'm showing the grids, different grids, and you have those, and this is it. You cannot do anything else. And have you tried this, Janiru?
You mean Powertoys?
Yes.
No, I haven't tried it.
Good. So I will install the new Powertoys. But I remember. Let me correct. Is it correct, Merul? You can install every of the Powertoys standalone, or you have to install all of them together.
no, you need to install the whole package. So it's pretty small. It was like 20 to 30 MBs. I don't remember exactly, but it was somewhere between 20 to 30 MBs.
I remember
And it
maybe in the
contains-
past you can install it independently, every package. It's maybe it's not this way. Oh, we are no sound. This is a podcast. Something has to sound. So we will try. Okay, any other question, guys, for Merul about this lovely Powertoys Microsoft open source code? Okay, the next point is that you can take a look at the Microsoft code and see how they do the program. Merul, what was the other big code they just released a few months ago? Maybe the CMD code or the DOS?
PowerShell.
The PowerShell, they released the code of the they make it open source, or they release the code? They make it open source also?
I think it was PowerShell. Let me actually check. Yeah, PowerShell. It was PowerShell, and I have their repo open here, Microsoft / PowerShell here on GitHub.
Good. Fantastic. For you all to know, you know that GitHub is owned by Microsoft. You know
Yeah.
that? Okay. Just in case, if you are dropping your lines of code in GitHub, Microsoft is reading your code as everyone. Okay. Merul, thank you for your presentation today. So let's go to Canada and see what Emily wants to explain us today. That seems something like related to the beers. Hacktoberfest crisis. For me, Oktoberfest is the most known festival in Europe with beers, but this is something different. Explain, Emily.
So Hacktoberfest indeed has nothing to do with beers at all, but it has the same idea of for example, free beer and free open source. Apparently, that's a thing that people say. But if you're familiar with the world of open source, you'll know that there's a contest or a program run by DigitalOcean that's called Hacktoberfest. So it runs every year in October, and it started to incentivize new programmers to get involved with GitHub and making PRs and issues and contributing to open source. So the basic rules are, in the past, if you opened at least 4 pull requests, then you'd get a t-shirt, but this year they also have the option for a treat, so that's nice and eco-friendly.
We have
So
it on
each
the
year,
screen now. We're seeing the web page. For you to know, we are showing the web page. Continue, please.
so each year maintainers often have to complain with the flood of PRs that are mostly spammy, and rightfully so, because they're mostly low quality and usually they're just one-line changes in a README. So there was actually a Twitter account started for the purpose of capturing all these spam PRs, and some of them were just useless word additions, like changing it from how to clone this project to how to clone this awesome open source project. And these PRs are just being spammed against all these repos, and obviously maintainers don't have the time and energy to triage all these issues. So every year there seems to be some interesting attempts to game the system, but this year the source seems to be an influencer on YouTube. So in one of his videos, he demonstrated how easy it was, to create a PR, but it demonstrated a really low quality PR, probably against his own repo. And it was very spammy, but he titled the video as if it was the t-shirt as the end reward and not getting to learn how to contribute to open source. And as a result, because everyone wants a t-shirt, many people started to follow suit and spam repos with PRs. So in the end, the video was taken down, but people are still unhappy with how repos and the underlying issue at hand, they weren't being addressed at all by DigitalOcean. So DO did change the wording on their site to make it seem like people should open these spammy PRs against their own repos, but that doesn't really contribute to open source in any way. So in the end, maybe on October 3rd, I think, a couple days after Hacktoberfest started, DigitalOcean had to add new restrictions to make sure that you had to open it in a repository with a Hacktoberfest label to limit the spam. And then your PR also had to be merged or marked Hacktoberfest. So this reduced a lot of the spam from then on because it made it a lot more difficult for the spammers to contribute. But then by then, a lot of people had already finished their 4 PRs and they were just done, and then they didn't bother anymore. So personally, I'm kind of unsure how this will affect the future of Hacktoberfest. But I'm interested to see how the team, if Hacktoberfest runs next year, addresses these issues, or if they'll just continue with the same things they had this year.
And it's curious. I mean, it's a worldwide event. I mean, you can organize your own in your city. I understand. They make groups. You can make a group and then collaborate from whatever your city is from October 1st and October 31, maybe? Or this is the sign up. Mm-hmm. So 70,000 participants for this year. I understand they think. No, was successfully complete. We are showing up the web page. It's very nice. I like the logo. What do you think about that kind? You have organized, I think, some kind of hackathon recently, Merul.
Yeah, I did.
You did. Explain a little bit about your hackathon, because I also think that Janiru is going to go after you talking, explaining the situation, and curiously, their application he's going to explain is from your hackathon. I know. Explain. What do you organize, Merul? Explain.
So I had gone to a contest. It was from one of my neighboring schools, but it was supposed to be a coding contest, but it was so subpar, it was so bad that I thought, why not I make something and show them how it's done properly. And luckily, that school did participate and they did not win. That's the best part about that. So the contest was called Raytech. So there's a word in Irish which means solution, Raytech. So we took the last part out and we replaced it with tech, basically. So we called it Raytech, which means finding a solution by technology. So we had 18 participants. It was international. And so in the end, there were only 6 left. And unfortunately, Janiru had some network issues, so he was unable to give the final presentation. But he had a fabulous app made up. And something I would like to mention is that his code scored a 30 on 30. So code was a part of the criteria.
Wow. Wow. What was the web page of the hackathon? What was the web page?
We did not have a web page.
But you have something on Facebook, maybe?
No, actually, our school just sends out invites in forms of PDFs, and there's
Because
an
I'm seeing
invite filter.
something with the same name on Facebook, but this is not your hackathon.
No.
Okay, okay. So nice history. So maybe it's your turn, Janiru. I'll explain about your application and what's the relationship with this hackathon. Explain, Janiru.
Yeah, so Retech was organized on 16th of October, and we had to present the project on 17th. So the theme was, I can't remember it, but it was related like EldCare, like something cool for elderly people. So from my school, there were me and one of my friends. Actually, o- my team was the only the international team. All others from India. So our project was make some sort of app for elderly people that use voice commands. So like who can't work with keyboards and stuff. Actually, the thing is, it uses an YouTube API and think that that elderly people need to watch some sort of entertainment thing. First, when they log into the app, they ask some questions. So, like they can choose some sort of entertainment like pranks and music, films like that stuff, and just the app sorts out what does this guy likes and what does this guy doesn't like. And after that, when you open the app, it's very simple. You can just say entertainment, religions, or exercise, and when you say any voice command, it'll sort out some not outdated, good videos with views, and we have added some channels that is popular. So after that, it shows up some about 20 videos in the application, and when you click it, you will be redirected to the YouTube. And talking about this exercises thing, our app will daily give exercises related to elderly people, and that will keep count on these calories and how much did they spend in the exercise and things. Actually, we was unable to finish our project in 48 hours, but we did finish it. We didn't give up after the competition end. Me and my friend finished it about 3 days after the competition end. Now, actually, I don't have the latest version of the app. My friend has it, and the whole project is open source and released on GitHub. But there is a framework called Bunnyfoo. It's just some sort of desktop application interface that will make a GUI look cool. So if anyone has that Bunnyfoo library, that's a paid library, you can open the Visual Studio project. If you don't have it, it'll ask to activate it. So I just used a cracked off Bunnyfoo.
Nice. You say that it's available on GitHub? What is the name of the application? EldCare?
Actually,
It's different.
it's a private. It's a
Okay.
private sub.
Okay.
Actually, only Retech can access it. I'll
Okay.
just make it popular by. I'll
Okay,
make it popular by.
was because it's nice that when we all present something on the podcast, we have some kind of resources like a video or a photo on the script, just for me to make it show it on the screen, because I think your application is very interesting, Janiru. But maybe on the next podcast you can attend. You can show us the how the application runs, because it will be nice to see, because you say it is for elderly people, and this is a very nice thing to develop, and it will be nice if you can show it to the other viewers
Yeah, sure.
of this podcast. Fantastic. Emily, what do you think about doing that kind of hackathons and applications for the elderly?
I think hackathons are actually like a really good way to kind of test out the viability of a project, and because they're usually in a shorter time frame, you have to really zero in on what features that you want to implement. So especially when coupling this with like a social issue such as like caring for the elderly, I think that they can really help like bring new ideas out and like get new projects started that will be really helpful for the future.
I will not ask you, Merul, because you are the organizer. So explain us how do you go to how do you become a hackathon organizer? Where the idea comes from? What is your team? Explain a little bit about this.
So I had organized the hackathon with a couple of friends. And the idea was because of personal rage on how bad a contest was that we went to. And then we decided to do something better. Then it took us 3 months to get permission from our principal at school to conduct the hackathon online. Then we had made a lot of arrangements. We had arranged very accomplished guests. Both of them were PhDs in computer science. One was an educationist, and the second was a world-renowned instructor. So we had a lot of teams applications come in, but we had a reserved number of seats. So we had capped out at 18 teams, and we had about 50 participants. So we organized it on Discord because Discord has really good moderation features. We can see all of their deleted messages. We can create private channels just for the team members so that they can have conversations of their own. And then we asked them to release their code on GitHub, but so that other people cannot see it, like other competitors, we asked them to create private repos and add our account to that as a collaborator, so that we can keep track, check for any plagiarism, and judge their code in the end.
Nice. This remembers me a year on the GCI that people started to copy the others from GitHub. It's that situation. Okay, very nice, guys. So for next time, remember please to attach some kind of images to the podcast. I have shown the Oktoberfest website in the Emily's presentation, but we don't have any graphic resources for yours. I'm gonna change now to the Liquid Galaxy EU website, just to say that a few days ago Google presented the new Google Summer of Code, and I know that you're still years ahead of becoming possible GCiers. You are already GCiers, but to become a GCier and be able to go to GSOC, you will have to stay at the university. But the point is that Google has made a lot of changes to the project, and basically they reduced the number of hours to be allocated to the GSOC from 350 to 175 to the middle. Also, students will get half of the stipend, and also there are less exams and a few more things. So I'm thinking that for the next podcast, what we are gonna do is we will make a open call to your colleagues that are already on the university and so on, and I will present the different news about the Google Summer of Code stuff for this coming 2020. The good news is that the program is going on because GCI has ended, but GSOC goes on, and in a different way. But this also can be. It's not 100% sure, but can be also interesting for the students because they are gonna also try to get not the double, but lots more of students. This means that this year more people will be able to do the Google Summer of Code next year, 2021. So fantastic. Any other stuff to say today? We are on 30 minutes. That's a good timing. Janiru, we are very happy to see you finally here. You look very well, very, very nice with this t-shirt, and you have a very good voice with this lovely mic. It's yours or from your father?
It's my father.
Is your headphone mic?
Yeah.
Very good.
Actually, it's my. I had a good pair of earphones, and one side broke.
Okay.
So I'm
So
plan, and I just posted a link in the chat for that GUI of the app me and my friend made.
but we are not going to show it now. It was shown for a second on the chat.
Yeah.
Next time. So we are happy to having you here, having you finally, because you've tried to come in the other episodes, so it was not possible. So we hope you can stay with us for the next episodes. We will try to find
Yeah, sure. I will.
an hour that you can do it, and also your data cap is ready to to make the
Actually, it's very annoying, but for about 28th, 29th, and 30, we don't have Wi-Fi. It goes and it finishes.
Okay, we will make it possible for
Actually,
you
in
for you
Sri
to come.
Lanka, Wi-Fi is extremely expensive. I think me and my Merul package prices are the same, but I only have 165 GB, but Merul has unlimited 300 Mbps for the same price.
Well, every country has different internet access, but Elon Musk is gonna save us because he's sending I don't remember how many 14,000. Finally, will be 14,000 satellites to the space, and they already have something like 700, and he's gonna send us to everyone. I will not say cheaper because do you know what the price is of the package, Merul? Do you know? What's the initial price?
I'll actually just
It's
actually
500.
look it up.
It's 500 for the desktop. I mean, you need a dish to be located on your roof to the satellites, and then it's 99 monthly, and you get I would say a good internet, but not a fantastic internet. But this is a beta testing. I mean, it's
Well,
still
recently they said that the way it would be working is each satellite has a certain area that it has to serve. So what would happen is that inside that area, let's say that the satellite can host internet up to a gigabyte per second. So the gigabyte would be distributed evenly amongst all the subscribers
you are
there.
asking me, or you're
No,
asking me?
I was just telling.
You're
Basically,
telling this is not the way it works. I can tell you, because there is no satellite assigned to any place, because the satellites are continuously moving.
no,
They're
it was synced to an area, and it was on LMG clips. They were telling that it was actually pretty slow as compared to what was promised initially.
But what I'm saying is that there is no satellite assigned to places because the satellites are moving continuously, are in low orbit. We are doing this in Spanish, but we have plenty of other podcasts with students here in Spain. You know a few of them, Jan, that usually is with us also. And Janiru, we are not seeing your face. Camera has gone. And we are doing plenty of... Janiru has left the conversation. We are doing plenty of, I would say, space-related contents. You can attend if you want, but you will have to practice Spanish or Catalan, even worse. Okay, let's wait for a few seconds for Janiru to say at least bye-bye. And Emily, do you want to say something to finish?
No, thank you for listening.
Perfect. That's a very good point to finish and start to think about your script for the next... Janiru's back. For the next podcast. Merul, do you have to say something before closing?
No, nothing.
Okay, thank you. Janiru, you're back.
Actually, I'm very sorry. The laptop wasn't plugged in the charger and it went down.
It happens. You have to plug in the power supply. So, Janiru, thank you very much for coming today. Do you want to say something before we end?
Yeah, actually, I was very happy to see you guys. So I think in next time Dylan would also come. I think he has cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
We hope so. We try all time for him to be there. But
hope he's
we are
doing good because
we are doing 4 different time zones, and in case Dylan is not in the same time zone of you.
Yeah, Dylan's in the same time zone
it's the
as
same
me.
time zone, Vancouver.
Same
Los Angeles.
time zone.
Okay, at this moment we are 4 time zones, and we're happy if Thailand comes with us, of course. Okay, guys. So thank you for coming. Thank you for the audience for staying with us, and see you on the next GCiers podcast. Bye bye.
Bye bye.